Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to 6 features to help your peak season be more successful. Today, we are going to cover some interesting trends and some great features ResNexus offers to capitalize on these trends to be more successful through the 2022 peak season. My name is Nathan Golick, and I'm a hospitality expert, and I provide industry education for our customers at ResNexus. For over 8 years, I've worked in hotel operations, large and small, from front desk to housekeeping. I've done it all, eventually moving up to become a general manager at a Hampton Inn. A little bit more about me. This is me hang gliding for my 32nd birthday. I love to get outdoors, and I never shy away from an adventure. It's actually pretty relaxing compared to skydiving or bungee jumping. So our agenda today, we're going to be discussing contactless check-in, which is already utilized by many of our ResNexus customers, key improvements to our waitlist feature. Then we're going to move on to the very underutilized feature of Group Reservations Pro. We will discuss updates to the text messaging and AirBnB messaging platform. Then we will discuss some revenue tools to help you be even more profitable this year. And we will wrap up with some incredible improvements to our calendar feature within ResNexus. But before we get into that, let's look at some trends among the industry. I conducted some keyword research to prepare for the webinar today. What I found very compelling is the term bed and breakfast near me had the highest search results they had ever had just this last August. Now, aside from marketing to these guests that you captured last summer, you should note the way things are trending. This married with the fact that mask mandates have come under great scrutiny as lockdowns continue to become fewer and fewer. It's likely this year will be another great year for B&Bs. As a result of the pandemic, the pace of technology has accelerated on how we interact with one another. From in-person meetings that have been brought online, from seeing smiling faces to being masked and so on. We are also seeing that wage growth isn't driving people to work in hospitality. A study from the Hospitality Asset Managers Association found that roughly 90% of respondents ranked labor availability as one of the top 3 challenges in the industry, followed by wage increases at 70%, supply chain disruption at 62%, and demand growth a distant fourth place at 40% of those surveyed. We're also seeing the average gas price, according to AAA, is very high. Last week, they stated the price on average was $4.12 per gallon, ranging from $3.72 in some places to $5.68 in some states. This may take a toll on the drive-to market in your state. Furthermore, we have Hawaii becoming the last state to remove mask mandates as pandemic restrictions are falling like dominoes worldwide. A resurgence in travel demand is poised to explode. Smith Travel Research recently reported that U.S. hotel performance increased from the previous week and showed significant improvements against 2019 comparables. Also noteworthy is that the mid-year global outlook forecasts a full return to 2019 levels in 2022 for hotels. Calibri Labs estimates hotel occupancy and ADR recovery will be at least at 90% by the end of 2022. So what does this mean for your business? This means that properties like yours can't rest on your laurels. People may flock back to the big box hotels in a big way. Only time will tell. All businesses have been impacted by the pandemic. How it impacted the hospitality industry is that we are seeing many guests still want to interact with frontline staff. However, there is a prevalence emerging of those that wish to have contactless check-in. Contactless check-in is one of those trends that isn't going away. ResNexus now offers contactless check-in to help your business be more successful this peak season and stay competitive while delivering what guests want. When it comes to contactless check-in, no one likes to wait in line to start their vacation. That is why Hilton started using their digital key offering nearly 10 years ago. As you can imagine, this has become the dominant form of reception since 2020. In fact, a 2021 Oracle report found that 47% of properties already offered contactless payment options at check-in, and many were introducing them throughout the guest journey. In fact, only 11% of respondents did not offer contactless payment options for on-site dining. Plus, 82% of properties reported capturing guest IDs and membership cards via mobile devices, meaning employees never have to touch unsanitized guest items. And finally, 67% of hotel executives reporting that they were considering or already using self-service check-in procedures. My point is here that guests expect these mobile technology solutions. These have become a mainstay at hotels for a number of years, and now small businesses like you can take advantage of these features so guests don't have to go back to the big box offerings, but continue to book with you again and again. So I wanted to start with how guests might be introduced to contactless check-in at your property. Navigating to settings and searching for contactless check-in will allow you to enable contactless check-in and print a QR code like this to post at your property. When a guest scans the QR code seen here on the left with their phone, it will take them to the contactless check-in page as we see here on the right. This is not another app that they have to download. This is all done online. Nothing needs to be downloaded to access this feature. Then here on the right is where they can enter the reservation number and their phone number to look up their reservation and start the contactless check-in process. This is so convenient for late night check-ins or for long lines. Offering contactless check-ins helps you manage a high volume of check-ins that happen all at once, or if you don't have that much staff. This will really help you manage your peak season. So let's see how we set this up in your ResNexus back office. Navigate to ResNexus settings and type in contactless check-in. Here, you just want to ensure that enable contactless check-in, that this box is checked. Then directly below, if you want to see what it's going to look like for your guests, you can click on the contactless check-in landing page button here. And then all we need is the reservation number and the reservation phone number. I've already entered one here for an existing reservation. Click submit. After the guest clicks submit, contactless check-in will display their reservation number and name, their reservation details just below. Options include check-in, extend my stay if available, enhance your stay with upsells and retail items, add payment, look up another reservation. Most of these features are automatic, but the reschedule and cancel button still require a call or text to the property at this point, because there are so many different scenarios that will require your involvement. So if someone needs to cancel or reschedule, the guest would be prompted to contact the property to resolve the issue. But they can still make payments, add packages or retail items, check in or extend their stay, and review their reservation all without any input from you. Likewise, if it is the arrival date, the guest will have the option to check in. The check-in option is not available unless it is the day of arrival. So let me pull up another example for a guest that hasn't arrived yet. So one thing to note here is that we got an error because we have an additional space in the reservation number. You just want to ensure that there's no additional spaces in the reservation number. However, you can do the phone number with dashes or without, and it'll still do it. So the last example, I didn't have any dashes. If I were to insert dashes here, click submit. As you can see, it'll bring up the guest reservation. And as you can see now, we have the check-in option. So they can click check-in. Are you sure you want to check in? Yes, I would like to check in for my stay. Now they've been checked in. Let's look at the other options. The reservation details page will display more information about their reservation and allow the guest to check in, view their room that they are staying in, and how much their total is. It will also display the door code if you're using Wi-Fi locks and allow them to add a guest if they need to, or add an additional night if needed. If the guest chooses to check in, they will be prompted to confirm and allowed to check in. This system will then notify you that the guest has checked in. There's also an option for the guest to pay using contactless check-in. So if I just wanted to, this is a sample reservation, so this one is made out for 0, but if I wanted to put in a credit card, I could do so here, put in the name, the month, expiration date, details, and complete the payment. So if the guest chooses to add to their stay, this is what some of those promotions might look like. If the guest chooses to enhance their stay, and that package requires the participation of another vendor, that vendor will get an email notifying them of the package that has been added. Guests can quickly add or remove the package here. Now it's no longer there. If I go back, enhance my stay, say I'd rather have a Swedish massage, I click add, Swedish massage is there. I can look up other reservations. I can choose to reschedule. Again, if they needed to make that modification, they would contact the property. If they want to extend their stay, they click on extend their stay and click extend. This will show them the rates if they wanted to extend their stay and arrive early, or if they wanted to extend their stay later. Another option that not all properties have is the text us feature here in the bottom right. So if you have text messaging enabled with ResNexus, you can use this feature. If you have any questions about contactless check-in, please contact your red carpet professional. Another trend we are seeing is around cancellations. Recent research shows that cancellation rates have increased dramatically over the past 2 years. In the years leading up to the pandemic, we saw rates between 11 and 13% on average. But of course, in 2020, we saw that rate more than double to nearly 36% of reservations being canceled or rescheduled. And during 2021, that rate was still far higher than it's been in the past, sitting around 32%. Now, we expect cancellation rates to continue to fall, but they are still quite a bit higher than pre-pandemic levels. Which brings us to number 2 on our list, which is the waitlist feature. Like I was saying earlier, I would anticipate that if you were busy last year, you are likely to be very busy again this year as well. So if you are overrun with demand, then the waitlist feature, available only to ResNexus subscribers, is a great way to manage your reservations this peak season and is a valuable option you should take advantage of. Plus, the shopping behavior over the last couple of years has been to book 2 or even 3 places and then decide which one to actually stay at, rather than first deciding to stay and then booking. The waitlist allows you to quickly and easily fill rooms. If you get a cancellation, you can easily contact that guest on the waitlist and fill those unused rooms. Let's take a look how it's done. So let me show you how you can make waitlist reservations from the calendar or the grid in the same way that you can create a quote. Okay, so we are back on our sample calendar and I want to add somebody to the waitlist. So what I can do is up here on the right hand side, we have waitlist. And let's say we have a guest that wants to stay in a king suite. So of course, I'll select the dates that they're interested in. And then I'll select quote. This is a really good way to make a note that the guest is interested in this room for a specific day. This could be because the guest is not yet ready to book, or the room is already occupied. This will show you a summary of the reservation quote, including totals and taxes. This will also allow you to change the rate and number of guests, as well as add retail items, discounts, or packages. I'll click Save Quote. This will take you to the master guest page where you can enter all the information for the guest. You can also use the guest lookup function if they are returning guests, and then click Save. Once you click Save, this will take you to the confirmation page for that reservation. You can choose to send a confirmation email to that potential guest to provide them a copy of the quote for their information. It will clearly state in red that this is a quote for their information purposes only and will state the expiration date of the quote. You can also navigate to the summary page where you will find the option to convert to a reservation, change the expiration date, or delete the quote. And then you can click View Waitlist button at the bottom to go back to the waitlist page. And as you can see, now the orange highlight shows that there is someone on the waitlist. That way, when you're ready to commit to the trip, it is easy for me to visualize what room that guest wanted and convert the reservation to a confirmed and collect payment.
So now I'd like to show you a powerful feature unique to ResNexus that can help you through your busy peak season and ensure you fill guest rooms. The online waitlist allows guests to add themselves to a waitlist so you can fill those rooms even if you get a last-minute cancellation.
So again, I'm going to start on our ResNexus settings page. And if I want to allow online bookings to be added to a waitlist, I want to make sure that I set that up. So I'm going to go into online bookings. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down on this first tab here. And as we can see, we have the checkbox here, allow guests to join a waitlist for occupied or unavailable rooms. So, and as you can see, there's a waitlist confirmation email, and you can change that to a different email, but be sure that it has the right verbiage that you want. As you can see, this is the default waitlist confirmation email. You can create other emails, but if you were to change this to a regular confirmation email, it's very likely to confuse your guests. So be sure that you have a specific waitlist confirmation email that the guest will receive. Okay, so you can change this, but I would caution against it. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the booking engine. So I'm going to click on our booking engine here, and I'm going to look for dates for a reservation for the 3rd through the 5th. I'm going to click apply. And then as I scroll down, we have several different options. And I think I want the double king. So as we can see now, rather than saying add the reservation, we now have the option to join the waitlist. So I'm going to click join waitlist. I'm going to put in my information. So I've put in my information. I'm going to click continue. And as you can see, it says, thank you for joining our waitlist. It gives me the dates that I'm on the waitlist. I have a confirmation number, and I can choose to start a new reservation if I want to go back to our booking engine. This feature of guests adding themselves to a waitlist from a booking engine, to my knowledge, is unique to ResNexus. This is a new feature on the booking engine this last year and is only offered by ResNexus. So this is really convenient for guests to do themselves, just to add themselves to a waitlist. And then that way, if you get any cancellations, you can easily fill those rooms. But what I want to show you now is what that looks like on the operator side. So I'm going to go back to reservations. So I'm back in my calendar here. And as we can see, we have some orange indicators that are showing that we have a few people on the wait list. Another indication is that this is off color, so it's also orange. So if I wanted to see the wait list, I could either select wait list here, and then we can see the reservations. And again, you can see that there are 3 here in order. Or if I just want to show it on the calendar here in low detail, I can also click up here. So let's say I want to look at the ones that has 3 of them. And I have this one coming in the 3rd through the 6th, this one the 2nd through the 5th, and the 3rd through the 5th. So of course they're all in date order here on the right. So kind of first come, first serve, but you can select any one of them that you want to fill those rooms. So let's say I select the second one down. It's already filled in, so this bubble is already selected, so I can convert it to a reservation. I can choose to delete this. It's put in as a quote, but this is one that came in online. So if I want to convert this to a reservation, I've got that selected. I can scroll down and press Save Changes, and we see it here. I would recommend that you contact the guest and ensure that they're still interested in the reservation before you convert it, because their plans may have changed, of course. But again, we can see that this one, if we pull up our legend, this one was booked online. It's not checked in yet. It hasn't been paid yet, and they do have a retail item. So now that one's been converted, and we have one less here in the Double King suite as an option for the wait list. Say I wanted to do that from the wait list in the calendar, I could do that here too. I go in, we just have one here that's on the wait list. I can select this one, and I can choose to convert this one to a reservation as well. And we know in this case, this one was made, it wasn't made online, it was made over the phone. So this one was just put in as a quote. So Bill called in and said, hey, I was just hoping to get a quote for this reservation. And now we've converted it. So he's confirmed, and we would just finish out the payment and things like that and go from there. But so that is how you convert a reservation on the wait list to a confirmed reservation on the calendar. Remember how I said earlier how important it's going to be to market to guests that have stayed with you this last year? Another benefit to the waitlist is that you have highly interested potential guests that you can email market to going forward. These are guests that may not have gotten a chance to stay with you, but might have that fear of missing out. So will likely be highly engaged and excited to see your promotional emails so they can stay with you again in the future. So whether you have availability or not, you still want to take down their information so you can email market to them with your newsletters, promotions, or marketing efforts you make in the future. That is a long tail strategy to have even greater success in the future and to get more direct bookings. As governments across the world loosen coronavirus restrictions and shift their approach to accepting COVID-19 as a manageable part of everyday life, the travel industry is growing hopeful that this will be the year that travel comes roaring back. Travel agents and operators have reported a significant increase in bookings in recent weeks for the upcoming spring and summer season. There may be those outliers that are still waiting to reconnect with friends and family. According to a New York Times article, the World Travel and Tourism Council projects that travel and tourism in the United States will reach pre-pandemic levels in 2022. At the time this article was released, it projects bookings over the Easter holiday period to be up by 130% over last year. Another really important trend I found is that people are willing to spend more than ever on a vacation. If you attended our other educational webinar with Expedia, you know that research suggests many people feel like they have waited long enough and the stress of the last few years has really gotten to them. 54% of respondents will invest more in travel than they did pre-pandemic, and this is the year they might take that trip of a lifetime. It doesn't appear that inflation is deterring most travelers. So what better way to take that trip of a lifetime than with friends and family? So of course, we have seen that properties are starting to focus on weddings again. We saw this last year and expect much of the same this year. And not just weddings, but also group events like family reunions, bachelor and bachelorette parties, business retreats, and some are even hosting group game nights like murder mysteries. And when it comes to dealing with group reservations, there are 3 main pain points properties experience. Group reservations take a lot of time. It's hard for our customers to keep track of group reservations and stay organized. and the process can lead to frustrations for the guest, possibly causing a bad experience and bad reviews. ResNexus has reimagined the way we handle group reservations with Group Reservations Pro. So why use Group Reservations Pro? We wanted to make a reservation experience that reduces stress and saves time for both you and your guests. We wanted to give you flexibility on how to deal with taking group reservations. With Group Reservations Pro, you no longer have to play wedding planner. So we gave you the option to give the guests the ability to organize their group and make the group reservations themselves. The key feature here is that you can provide the guests with a unique URL for them to make their reservations. Let's see how it works. So again, I'm back on my calendar, but I'm going to go here into operations, and then I'm going to go down to group reservations. From here, I want to create a new group reservation. So I'm going to create a group block. So I'm going to click add new here on the right. So the group name is going to be the Miller Murder Mystery. It's a family party. I can add a description here. I can also add a coordinator. So I've added Brady Miller as the coordinator for this group. So I'm going to say that this group is coming in May. So I'm going to release May 14th. So I'm going to release them 2 weeks prior. And I'm just going to sell them at the current rate.
But be aware that I could choose to sell them at a discounted rate. Group Reservations Pro makes it easy for you to offer a percentage discount or sell at a dollar amount discount off of the base rate. This is great for like wedding parties, or maybe they have like a 3-night minimum, and so you want to offer them a discount. Or for some of our larger properties, maybe you have corporate travelers that are staying with you within a group block, and you want to offer them a discount or a special rate. You can do so here.
And I'm going to click Save Changes. Next, we're going to navigate to the Rooms tab at the top of the page and create a new reservation. You'll select the dates for when your guest wants to stay and select the rooms and dates that you wanted to be blocked off. Notice that you're on the grid, but you're not on the wait list. So you want to be in the grid. And in this case, they're going to come use some Sunday night rooms, which is perfect because that's typically a low occupancy night for me. It'll be a lot of fun to have them there in 5 rooms for a murder mystery. So I'll select those 5 rooms and I'm going to click the red block button. Notice that this brings you back under group reservations, Miller Murder Mystery. And you'll see this brought you back to your reservations tab, which will allow you to see the rooms that you have put on hold for this group. So if you navigate back to your information tab, you'll see that you now have access to a unique link that group guests can use as a unique booking engine where they can select the rooms they would like to book. So I can copy this and share this with my group coordinator. So let's see what this looks like. So as you can see, I just have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It only will show the 5 rooms that I have set aside. As you can see, it says the individual group coordinator and it shows what the event is for. So anybody that gets this unique link that's associated with Brady here knows that it's for the Miller Murder Mystery. And it shows the dates and everything there. So then if I'm a guest, I can just select this room. So if I click checkout, it'll bring me through the standard checkout process. And the cool part here is in real time under reservations, I can see that someone is making a reservation online. It's currently pending. Now let's see what it looks like once we finish a reservation. To do that, I'm going to create a new reservation under the group block. So again, I'm in the Miller Murder Mystery group block. And let's say a guest was looking on the booking engine and they had a couple questions and they were to call in and wanted to book with you over the phone. So I'm going to go into the group block, click new reservation. Somebody's currently making that reservation online for this room. So I'm going to select the block here. And I'm going to ask them if they need a king or a queen, give them the rates. And I'm just going to select the one and say convert to a reservation. So in this case, Rebecca called in. She wanted to make the reservation. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And I would make it like any other reservation. I've added a payment. I've got her card on file. I can send her an email confirmation. And she has a confirmation number here. As we can see, she's part of this group block. So just to double check, I'll go back to group reservations, back to the Miller murder mystery. And as we can see, we have somebody making a reservation online. Rebecca has made a reservation over the phone with me and has already paid. And we can see where they're assigned. So this one's pending online. This one's associated to Rebecca. We have 3 more rooms still set aside. So if we see what that looks like on the grid, we have 1 pending online. Rebecca's made this reservation with me over the phone, and we have 3 left. So it makes it super easy and convenient just to have this unique link here. So once a guest books a room using that link, the room will be removed from the block and the reservation will show up under the reservation tab in group reservations. Be aware that any auto-collect deposits you have set up for your property will automatically charge each guest when they make the reservation using the group block link. And that's what's great about Group Reservations Pro, is you no longer have to worry about getting each guest in the group to agree to your policies at the time of arrival. Before each guest can finish making their reservation, they have to agree to your policies. Another benefit to Group Reservations Pro is the deposits. With Group Reservations Pro, you can collect deposits and payments the way you want. Whether your point of contact wants to pay for all of the rooms or sites, or have each guest pay individually. And finally, with confirmations. After a guest from the group finishes the booking process, they will automatically receive a confirmation email that shows their reservation information and the reservation information only. And of course, this is all done automatically with no extra input from you. Group Reservations Pro helps you stay organized. Unless you are extremely organized and keep a binder full of all of your group reservations, it can sometimes be hard to keep track of and know when a group reservations is coming up. Let ResNexus Group Reservations Pro help you relieve some stress so you can be more successful this peak season. Let's talk about the next feature that can help your business be more successful this peak season: text messaging. As of a 2021 study, we see that over half of hospitality operators are offering some form of mobile service. And 70% of respondents reported using pre-arrival communications to provide highly personalized information, including property wellness guides and updates on check-in procedures. And 67% of consumers already receive text messages from businesses. Your customers are likely used to being communicated with in this way. Plus, did you know that the average email open rate is about 20%? However, pre-arrival or communication emails get an average open rate of 62%. So when the guest is expecting that email, they only open it about 62% of the time. However, texting blows that out of the water with a 98% open rate. Plus, 90% of text messages are opened within 3 seconds of being received. Plus, 68% of respondents are more likely to buy from a business that offers convenient communication, such as text messaging. Many hospitality businesses, including campgrounds, are already using text messaging. We all know that the guest experience starts way before they book with you. Let's take a look at how text messaging can enhance your guest experience throughout the entire booking process. I've identified 5 stages of the traveler journey. Let's talk about them now. First is pre-booking. This is where people can ask you questions before they book with you, such as, do you have an ADA pool, or when your check-in time is, or anything like that. Oftentimes these questions can't be found on your website. Either way, you have more time to answer them and can close that booking and save time on the phone. Next is post-booking. It's as simple as reminding them of their reservation and building excitement by sharing a link for things to do in the area. Let's be honest, when my mom says that she's really looking forward to my call, I feel guilty if I don't call. The same principle applies to reducing your no-show rate with texting. Try to text your guests and encourage them to stay with you and complete that reservation. Then there's pre-arrival. You can text them a map, inform them about vehicle restrictions, allow them to do a contactless check-in, and get permission to collect payment. Next is mid-stay. Share the Wi-Fi password, tell them where to eat, announce fun activities, check how they are doing, and increase your retail sales. And lastly, post-stay. You can remind them about your checkout times, or simply thank them for staying with you. And most importantly, ask them for a review if they enjoy their stay. Using text messaging for reputational review management is one of the most powerful reasons to get text messaging because it allows your business to reduce bad reviews and dramatically increase positive reviews. You qualify that the guest will leave a good review by asking them how their stay was. If they rate it 5 stars, ask them for a review. If they rate it 4 stars or less, ask them how you can improve. This should all be automated with text messaging. This is how you can quickly stand far above your competition and increase your reviews. And it's just so cool that texting can auto ask for reviews. What a great time saver. And another great feature that this message inbox provides is that it is now integrated with Airbnb messaging. This is a huge time saver for you. Now you don't have to log into Airbnb messages to reply to these guests. Now, quickly and easily reply to these guests directly from your message inbox. There are a few steps to ensure Airbnb messages is set up correctly. Let's take a look. First, you're going to navigate to Settings, then Direct Connect and click on Airbnb. When looking at the Airbnb connection, if you see this message, that means that you need to connect with Airbnb again. Your Airbnb connection will look like this if you connected and are able to message from Airbnb. Once your Airbnb messages is set up, you will be able to start communicating with your Airbnb customers right from the ResNexus system. You can find the messages in the message inbox at the top of the page. Then you can differentiate these messages from your Airbnb inbox with the red box notated here. Down at the bottom of the page, you can then respond to the messages. Once you connect to Airbnb messaging, you will receive and be able to respond to messages that the guests send you after the connection is established. Past messages will not pull over. For those of you that don't want to get caught off guard, using ResNexus Revenue Management can help. So what is revenue management? Revenue management is an inclusive term that describes the use of the following pricing techniques and tactics. Variable pricing. This is the practice of charging different prices for different elements of value. For example, you offer different rates for different site types or amenities. Isn't a jacuzzi worth more than a tub? Or for our campgrounds out there, a 65-foot RV site is worth more than a 50-foot. Dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing means that the price for the same room can change due to repeating events that affect your supply and demand. Think seasons, weekends, holidays, and stable events that cause your demand and supply to change. More people want to book on the weekends, right? And lastly, there's yield management. Yield management means changing your prices to match fluctuations in supply and demand based on occupancy. For example, if you have high occupancy, you would want to raise your rate. With low occupancy, you might want to lower it to increase your occupancy and therefore revenue. Oftentimes when I talk to a brand new property owner that has never ran a campground or bed and breakfast before, they start with a flat rate for their rooms or sites. 6 months to a year later, they start using dynamic pricing and increase their rates for weekends, holidays, and events. Then they will start to ask me about creating minimum nights. At ResNexus, we have what we call smart minimum nights. This feature automates the minimum night requirement to automatically drop if some of the sites or units go unsold by a set date. For example, instead of requiring 4 nights, it will drop down to 3 or 2. Next, the property owner will usually start to add sliding rates to encourage longer stays similar to minimum nights, but add in discounts to incentivize them to book. And then after they are comfortable using these dynamic pricing tools, I recommend automatic yield management as the next step. Let's take a closer look at yield management in action. Let's say your occupancy rate is about 20% at a rate of $80 around 90 days before a given stay date. Then around 45 to 30-day mark, you start to see demand increase, so you raise your rates. That's simple yield management. You can either keep your daily rate the same or increase it to maintain your current occupancy rate, make more money on average, and reduce your workload during the busy season. Many times when we talk about yield management, businesses think it only refers to rate increases in regards to occupancy. But let's look further into the other strategies. For example, by discounting your rate 90 days out, you can quickly increase your occupancy rate. Then once you hit 50% occupancy, you can raise your rate a greater amount to slow demand and increase revenue. This is very similar to what the non-discounting property did. However, note that because I'm in a better position occupancy-wise, I can afford to let my rate be higher than I would have been in the previous scenario, illustrated here with the dotted line. Plus, if some guests cancel or you want to increase occupancy even more, you can discount again to sell to last-minute travelers. But keep in mind the following scenario. Should a guest that booked 3 months ahead pay the same rate as a guest that booked last minute? Does guest number 2 think they should? Is that how it works for the airline industry or anything else? The fact of the matter is that we are all conditioned to expect yield management, meaning the higher the demand and the fewer of the quantity, the higher the price. On the inverse, if there are too many available places to stay and little demand, the price is low. If you use yield management effectively, you should be able to stay in the maximum revenue zone. Okay, so let's dive in and see how to set up yield management. I already have some yield management rules set up. So in this example, if a guest books between 15 and 30 days in advance, I'm going to give them a 15% discount. If they book between 30 and 60 days out, I'm going to give them a 20% discount. So I'm really encouraging my guests to book early and save with me. Likewise, if occupancy is between 80 and 89% for that given date that the guest is querying on the booking engine, I'm going to mark up my rooms by $10. The same is true if the occupancy is between 90 and 100%. I'm going to mark up my rooms by $20. So again, this is using yield management. If a guest wants to come stay with me when I already have high demand, I'm going to increase my rates. Okay. So let me show you how you add one of these. So I'm going to click on add. And again, I can choose a different room class if I so choose. I can select the start date and the end date. So I can do a specific weekend and I can do as many as I want. Or I could just have it end at any time. I can also say that it only applies on specific days. And I can have a specific booking window. And I can have when occupancy is between certain parameters, like the previous example. And I can use occupancy for the whole property instead of the selected class. And then I can choose to mark up the rate or mark down the rate by a percentage or by a dollar amount. So very easy and intuitive flow. So then we have a few other options for our yield management rules. I can perform yield management for online bookings only, meaning that guests that go on my booking engine will see those increased or decreased rates based on my rules above. Or in addition, I can perform yield management for phone bookings. So it's going to increase my rates automatically for reservations that I make on the grid or on the calendar. So it'll show those rates based on my occupancy or how far in advance they are and things like that. So this was a quick overview on how to set up yield management in your ResNexus back office. Again, a highly underutilized feature by a lot of our ResNexus subscribers. Using yield management is a surefire way to increase your success this peak season. Again, at the end of the day, you have to ask if automated yield management is right for you to enhance your business. I usually ask properties the following questions. Is your occupancy over 70%? Do you run at 100% occupancy during certain times of the year, like on weekends or anything like that? You might be leaving money on the table. Check your trends and look back at the last 2 or 3 years to see how often the first two are happening. I say this because COVID has really changed some of these factors. If you find your property answering yes to those questions, then I recommend you ease into automated yield management with the following two rules. If occupancy is between 71 and 90%, increase your rack rate by 10% or $10, whichever you're more comfortable. If your occupancy is 91 to 100%, then you might want to consider going 20% or $20 more. ResNexus allows you to automatically set up your yield management rules based on your occupancy. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't show you a lot of the time-saving features that we have on the calendar. I've already reviewed a couple with you, but let's dive into a few more. So I'm back in my sample property here, and I've navigated to the calendar here on the left-hand side. And one of the cool things that I didn't mention earlier is that, of course, you kind of have at a glance this quick view if you hover over any one of the reservations, like we see here. So I can tell if they paid, what their estimated time of arrival is, their dates of their stay, their reservation number, how they booked, different details like that. One of the really cool features is that if I click on the guest, I can see more information here on the right-hand side. So I can dive in a little deeper. Plus, I can check them in, check them out, or no-show them directly from the calendar. I can also add a payment and see any reservation notes, all on one screen. How convenient. Now, if I wanted more detail, I can always go to the reservation summary and see all the details here. But for the sake of this example, let's say I want to check this guest in. Now, that change has been saved. Another feature that's on the calendar is we can move it from low detail to high detail if we choose. So we get a little bit more information here, and it's just expanded a little bit. So if you like this visual here, you can always use the high detail option, which shows you how many guests, their estimated time of arrival, the total amount, what is still due, those details. Again, saving you more time. Another really exciting feature on the calendar is the update rates feature. Let's say that you want to increase the rates for your queen suite for this weekend. I can select those units by the date, and as we can see here, now I have this updated rates button that popped up here in green at the top. If I deselect these, that button goes away, it disappears. So I select those dates, and it pops up here. I click on update rates, and let's say I want to increase these by $10. If I click save, now it's going to refresh the page. If I go back to the end of the month, here at the bottom, now I've got my queen suite. It's up by another $10, so it sits at $125. So this is a quick way to update your rates on the fly. Also from the calendar, I can check the retail summary. I can print this report, so it'll show any retail items in date order. So if I have anything that needs to be delivered to a room or things that I need to make sure that I've ordered and have supplied for our guests, I have the retail summary here for that. And lastly, because we know you're busy, we also provided filters. So I can see how many reservations have come in over the phone, how many of them are online, how many were Airbnb or any other OTAs. I can also filter by status. So if I just want to see any that are unpaid or just partially paid, I can filter that out as well. Perhaps I want to see if we have any that are surprises, birthdays, have retail items. You can filter by all those so you can get the information that you need more efficiently. I can also change the calendar view by however many days I want to view. The ResNexus calendar is packed full of features to help you be more successful this peak season. All right, we hope you enjoyed this webinar. During our next webinar, we will present 5 ways to enhance your campground. Is your campground prepared for another busy season ahead? In this webinar, we'll go over 5 ways to enhance your campground so that you can increase revenue, save time, and provide meaningful interactions with your guests. Some of these enhancements include innovative engagement tools, improved website content, dynamic pricing, and protecting your business from last-minute cancellations. You don't want to miss this important webinar. If you like this webinar and want to see past webinars, you can find them on resnexus.com under Education and then click on Webinars. This will bring up all of our upcoming and past webinars, where you will find well over 50 different webinars as a free resource to you. And you can click and watch each of them on demand at a time that is convenient for you. Plus, directly below the videos, you will find the timestamps, so if you missed something during this webinar, you can easily go back and find it right away. If you're a ResNexus customer and have questions, feel free to reach out to our support team by clicking Support in your back office. And you can either call your red carpet professional or call the general support line. Let's see if we have any questions.
So while we are waiting for these questions to come in, I would like to introduce Brad Keach, our training manager here at ResNexus. He's going to help answer some of your questions today. Looks like the first question that we had was regarding yield management. If I use yield management, will those updated rates be communicated to the OTA channel I use?
Change your base rate in ResNexus, which will be communicated through Direct Connect to your OTA. So yes, they do. You can actually decide whether you want it to do that or not in Direct Connect. There's a setting. Looks like there's another one. How much is the text messaging feature? It's $80 a month for unlimited text messaging. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, I think it's 47 for the lower tier. And that's 47 per month plus the text messages, and there's a different fee for SMS versus multimedia. So if it has a picture, it's more expensive. I think it's 2 and 4 cents there.
Right. Yeah, that's the last I saw. 2 cents for text messages and 4 cents for images or multimedia.
And let's see. The last one was just telling you how awesome you are, so that's great.
Yeah, thanks. A lot of work goes into these webinars, so we really appreciate the feedback. And as per usual, of course, feel free to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar. We love to hear how we're doing and get any suggestions for upcoming webinars, because of course we just do this for you.
Rebecca, to answer your question about Airbnb, if you go into your back office and navigate to settings and then search for Direct Connect, and when you open Direct Connect, you click on the channel named Airbnb. In there, at the very top of your page, it's going to show a button that says whether you're connected or not. If the button is green, then you have connected your SMS messaging to the Airbnb messaging. If it's red, it will actually tell you that you haven't authorized it to use Airbnb messaging yet. So you should be able to click that and then re-sign into your account, and it will connect it to do that. And if you run into any problems, just give us a call and we'll walk you through that.
Yeah, and we do review that in this recording. So once I get the recording updated and everything posted online, we'll have that time stamped on there so you can go back and review this webinar and kind of give you the visuals and the step-by-step.
Let's see, during the text messaging portion, you mentioned that we could text folks that have not booked online yet. How would I connect with them if I have not booked any given info yet?
No, so I was saying, so the concept was pre-booking. So if you had guests that might reach out to you, so if you offer text messaging, let's say you have it on your booking engine, you say text us or on your website, then a guest that hasn't quite booked with you yet, but they have a quick question, they might reach out to you via text rather than, calling. Oftentimes guests are worried that they're calling an 800 number or going through a phone tree or something like that. And they just have one simple question that they want to get answered. So a lot of businesses solve that problem with texting or a chat feature or something like that, so they can make sure that they secure that booking. That's what I was referring to. I hope that answers that question.
And to answer Mariana's question about the promotions like we have with Expedia right now, Expedia is currently the only one that we have. We're able to do promotions directly within the back office for at this time. We do not have that available for Booking.com as of today. When you get requests from Airbnb guests to add a night, will you still be able to do that through the messaging, or will you need to log into Airbnb? You would receive the message in ResNexus. So if you have messaging turned on, you would receive the message. But if you had to log into Airbnb to add a night previously, you still would have to do that.
Oh, for texting.
So that's a nice feature. What was the average cost? The $80 for most of your clients. Yeah, I mean, it's that's for unlimited text messaging. So it basically lets you send and receive as many as you like in a month. Hopefully that answered that question. I'm not sure if I missed what that question was referring to.
I think there may have been some confusion. I think the comment regarding multi-night discounts was just an example text. Maybe that's what you're referring to. When I was going over some different examples, we have a multi-night discount option or whatnot that we could facilitate via text. But yeah, if you use the unlimited texting option, it's just that $80 a month, and it's unlimited texting, multimedia text, as well as just text messages. So that's just that flat fee for the unlimited texting.
Yeah, I think there was some confusion between that and the lower version. So we do have a pay per use. So with the lower monthly, it's $47 a month instead of 80, but you pay per text messages. So it's not unlimited text messaging. You pay for the service, and then whatever you use is what you would pay on top of that. Just for an example, we have our event center here locally at ResNexus that is also owned by the same owner as ResNexus, and he uses this feature with his business, and he's averaging about $60 to $65 a month right now using the pay-per-use feature. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what that, and he gets a pretty decent flow of text messages. So.
I know a lot of our clients too, what they'll do is they'll just start with the limited texting option, right? The $47 a month, just to see how much they're using it. Do that for the first month. And if it's justified, if it makes sense financially, right, to go with the unlimited text messaging because you're using it more frequently, then you can always change that.
To answer your question, Rebecca, it will not connect it automatically. You have to go in and choose to connect Airbnb messaging. So if it wasn't connected, if you didn't choose to do that, then it's not doing it. Yeah, Jesse, there is an option. We can do multi-night discounts. Just call in and they'll walk you through how to set that up.
Great questions. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. Do we have any other questions? I think we'll give it maybe another 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Yes, the webinar was recorded and it will be available. You'll receive an email likely by the end of this week, and it'll be up on resnexus.com under education and then webinars early next week. All right. Well, I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks for everybody's time and attention. We're wishing you a very happy, busy season ahead. That's for sure. I think it's going to be fantastic this year, another successful 2022 season. And may the 4th be with you, right? Chuckle, chuckle. Thanks, everybody. Take care.